Welcome everybody to another edition of MLW 2005 as we're continuing the road to Devil's Night. As we start with the Extreme Horsemen backstage, basically putting over the fact, that they're still the dominant force in Major League Wrestling, that, sooner or later they will get the MLW World Heavyweight Title off of Loki's waist. But for now, they're dealing with two punks like Hero and Strong that think just because they held the tag titles for a couple months, they're special. And yes, they are solid wrestlers, but meant that both Carino and Diamond have been at this game for close to a decade, wrestling all over the world, and they faced all sort of young and hungry kids who've turned out to be nothing, and that's what all Hero and Strong turn out to be. Simon says, you're going to get your ass kicked at Devil Knight and prove that Extreme Horsemen belong at the top of professional wrestling. 61, solid promo, there you go. It builds up the little tag feud we got going on. Then we have our opening match, which gets a 39, as about to decent rank from the crowd, but subpar wrestling. Akira Tozawa defeated Puma and Chad Collier in 802, and Tozawa pinned Puma. 39, back and forth, high spot match, and Tozawa gets a solid win. Tozawa gets a 35, Puma gets a 36, and Chad Collier gets a 37. So again, straightforward win for Tozawa to put him over, and then post-match, Tozawa celebrates to a 35. So good stuff. Then we have backstage event where basically, Amazing Rose backstage, and Matt Sydal walks up with him with Val. And Sydal basically says, the Amazing Ray doesn't even deserve to be in the normal contendership match at Devil's Night. Should be just Sydal whooping Nigel's ass again. Basically says, is that right? Well, why, you could face me in the ring anytime and I could make you look like the loser you are. Remember, we never actually faced off one-on-one for the Junior Heavyweight title. So you stole that title and then you never actually defended it against me. Sydal says, well, that's because you never earned a shot, kid. It's like, we're like the same age, but he Sydal walks out with Val and says, get ready for the ass kicking of a lifetime that you should have got when you were younger and even smaller. Again, 61, perfectly solid promo as we move forward. Basically puts over the next week, Morishima will make his MLW debut, which could say 45. And then in a decent match, in a sort of wacky match, the very interesting team of Jason Cross, Junior Fatu, and Sabu defeated the Simone family of Semu, Mana, Ekmo, when Junior Fatu pinned Mana with a rump shaker. This gets a 57. So Sabu gets a 47, Junior Fatu gets a 53, Jason Cross gets a 51, Ekmo gets a 64, Manu gets a 37, Samu gets a 38. Yes, just a wild, wacky brawl. Jason Cross has some flying stuff to look impressive. Sabu, takes some bumps, probably. Fatu looks like Fatu, and in the end, he gets a big win over Mana. And then post-match, the baby faces celebrate to 49, as announcers put over the fact that MLW officials have officially signed for Devil's Night a one-on-one match where Jason Cross will get his chance at ECMO in the ring. Then we move forward where Sanjay has a backstage promo saying he has no idea why Homicide attacked him. He can talk all he wants about not deserving chances, but you've gotten big chances in this company, so have I. But if you want to fight, I'll give you a fight, Homicide, and we'll prove who's the better wrestler. 45, straightforward promo, nothing special, but puts that forward. And then we have a quick Delirious promo, which is a 35. Ouch. Where basically, Delirious speaks wackiness, and Daisy Hayes basically, translates and says that, Delirious is happy to fight Averno at Devil's Night and prove that he's the best junior heavyweight in the world for today. So we got another match for Devil's Night, and we got Delirious and Averno. Junior Heavyweight title, there we go. Bingo. All right. And last but not least, in our main event, about that great wrestling and good heat, Chris Hero defeated Steve Carino in 15-7 by pinfall to Hero's Welcome. An injury to Steve Carino meant an audible was called and the finish was changed on the fly. That does not sound good. Steve Carino sustained a torn rotator cuff. Carino gets a 67. Chris Hero gets a 53. 61 overall. Okay. Usually finishes don't get changed on the fly if an injury can be worked through, so that doesn't sound right. I see. There's Extreme Horsemen beat down, I guess, or Simon Diamond basically probably calling things on the fly and attacking Hero. Then Roderick Strong makes save with a chair. This gets a 57. Okay. And overall, we get a 54. So I'll be back in a second, telling you guys what the actual injury is to Carino. So let's see here. Be right back in just a moment. So, I've been sort of cursed with injuries to some of your top guys. So we got Steve Carino, torn rotator cuff, can only work angles for a year. So we're going to do the surgery. And, right, okay, we'll do the surgery after the show. Yeah, this screws things up. I mean, I had an angle I was going to do tonight, a sort of big angle, but this just makes it a more important angle. So I'll see you for the actual show in just a moment. Okay, now for the second half of the taping, as basically we start the show with Carino coming out, and he basically, has his rotated off cuff, all his shoulder all taped up. He basically cuts an angry promo. He blames MLW officials for putting him in the ring with a loser like Hero. He blames the audience for supporting men like Hero and Strong. He blames professional wrestling for getting hardcore. He blames everybody, basically everybody but himself, that he's not going to be able to wrestle in Japan where he belongs, and instead is going to be stuck at here in MLW being a color commentator again for these losers. But then, basically, Hero and Strong come out. Basically, they don't even cut promo. They just point at Diamond, and Carino says, "No, no, Diamond's not gonna wrestle both of you guys at once. We're going to find somebody for Diamond." Or no, we're not going to find somebody for Diamond because we're going to refuse to wrestle because the Extreme Horsemen deserve better. 51, mostly because I actually rated Hero and Strong and Overness, which I probably shouldn't have done, but not the end of the world or anything. Then we are opening match with the Stampede Bulldogs of Teddy Hart and I'm not Teddy Hart of T.J. Wilson rather. They're Canadian, they all look the same. And here, Harry Smith defeated Incognito and Dragon Kid in 6:43. Harry Smith pinned Dragon Kid with a springboard heart attack. This gets a 41, and of course this was probably a wacky high flying, lots of spots match that'll be seen in GIFs for the next decade. Dragon Kid gets a 38, Incognito gets a 29, TJ Wilson gets a 42, and Harry Smith gets a 34-5. Solid stuff. Like I said, this gets a 41, and then post-match, the Stampede Bulldogs with Natty Celebrate, which gets a 34. Then we go backstage where Dynamite and Dynamite Daisies announced that, even though they're not going to be wrestling Devil's Night because MLW officials say there's nobody that's currently available for them to defeat because every other team is afraid of them. That's probably not true. They put over, they're showing the fans in Major League Wrestling that instead of some loud rap music or some dumb or some dumb rock music played by drug addicts, they're going to play some real music. And, Gordy finishes, you can either accept that we're going to play our tune or you'll get knocked out. This gets a 4-3, solid stuff as we build, Diamond Daisies up. And then we have a match where the SAT defeats the Averno Pitbulls at 10:09 when Matt Sydal pins Ricky Ray's Spanish Fly. This gets a 47. Again, back and forth match, perfectly solid. And after months upon months, basically almost a year, the SAT finally get the revenge on the Averno Pitbulls for winning the tag titles off of them. And yeah, Maximo gets a 44. Joel gets a 48. Rocky Romero gets a 32. Ricky Reyes gets a 43. Unfortunately, I've kind of turned the Havana Pitbulls into jobbers, not of anything, but just there's not much to do with them, especially since Homicide probably wouldn't work with low card guys, and they haven't had any great face tag teams to feud with after Hero and Strong beat them. And so, yeah, unfortunately, that stuff just happens. But SAT get the big win, and they get to celebrate, which gets a 41. As the announcers put over, maybe they're the ones that'll get the next tag title shot at the new champions featured attraction, which we go back. Wow, okay. This is not great, probably because I rated the two women, but basically, put her a featured attraction and still party, and they're in a random club saying, this is what happens when a true tag team of greatness wins titles, is they can into the hottest parties with the dopest women, and they have all the free drinks they want, and basically because they're the global tag team proud champions, and there's nobody that can defeat them. 27, not the greatest promo, and yeah, probably because because I actually rated these two on sex appeal, which probably shouldn't have done, but what can you do? And then in a big moment, Takeshi Morishima makes his debut in MLW, defeating Sanjay Dutt in 14:02 by pinfall at Amaze Impact. I don't know what that is. I'll have to double check it, but it's probably some move where Sanjay Dutt gets compressed into nothing. No interference from Homicide or anything, just a straight clean win for Morishima. This gets a 62. Morishima gets a 54. Sanjay Dutt gets a 58. His Japanese badass gimmick gets an initial rating of great, so there you go. And then post-match, what happens, and because there's some reveals coming. So basically what happens is, Morishima is celebrating, Loki comes out, and it looks like there's going to be, Loki comes in the ring, does a bow of respect to Morishima and extends his hand. Morishima accepts it. Then he brings Loki in, grabs him, and backdrop driver. As Loki is folded up on the ground, out come Simon Diamond, Steve Corino, and JJ Dillon clapping. Well, Diamond and JJ Dillon are clapping. Corino's holding up his one non-destroyed hand, one destroyed shoulder, and they come in the ring. They hand Morishima an Extreme Horsemen t-shirt, available at MLW.com, and they hand it over to him, and he happily puts it on, as, everybody laughs, and Kevin Dilley puts over the fact that the Extreme Horsemen had a backup plan, and it turned out to be Takeshi Morishima. Oh my god. And this whole segment gets a 66, and overall the show itself gets a 54. So again, not our best shows, pure shows, but okay. So a quick, again, out of, backstage note, the turn was the Morishima aligning with Corino and Diamond was going to happen no matter what. That initially, before Corino destroyed his rotator cuff, it was going to be something where basically, he was basically their mercenary to take the title off of him. But then what you just saw happen. So yeah. Yes, I know. It's no good. It's no fun. I don't like it. But let's see here. Let's just see real quick what the medical can do. Okay. No whammies. Okay. I mean, he's still back in 9 months. And yeah, again, the hilarity. Jerry Freeman gets injured for a while just before Corino comes back. Lynn gets injured, and now by the time Lynn gets back, Corino will be injured for another couple months. So yeah, it's kind of amazing. It's just kind of insane. But yeah, what can you do? These things happen. So let's just change it over. See Corino and Steve Corino. All right, I probably did not change. Yep. Okay. So yeah, that sure thing. Let me just see what that let's see here. Matches, anything? Yeah, no really great matches, which I mean this was really more of a angle heavy show. But yeah. Yeah, just as a quick note, we're getting some matches in the 70s now, mostly Loki, Nigel, and Reno, but yeah. It's again, oh no. There's some booking that I'm going to do that I'll talk over when we get actual Devil's Night, because there's still stuff that's happening. But anyway, I'll be back in just a second with the next set of TV tapings, but we'll continue the road to Devil's Night. So see you in just a moment. So a quick thing here. I don't usually interrupt the flow of the doing things just to bring up random matches, but this is a wacky ass New Japan card, and it's also kind of perfect 2005 because, again, for those used to the late 2010s era of New Japan, where every match was a 5-star banger filled with great matches and such, well, 2005 was a different. So, you have your random matches Taiji Ishimori versus Josh Daniels, Josh Barnett, Hiroshi Yoko, and Ryoto Shizuen, who I don't know who that is, defeating Scott Morton, Kensuke Sasaki, and Manu Nakanishi. That is a team that you would not want to meet in an alley, and also a team that would get caught in a airport with lots of medicine. Anyway, yeah, Tiger Mask War defeating Yoji Anjo. You have probably Minoru Suzuki and Gito Njado defeating Heat, who's Minoru Tanaka, and El Samurai, and Misaki Noroi. Okay, weird. We got Hideki Suzuki and Jushin Liger defeating Koji Kanemoto and Susumu Nishimura. Again, sure. Then we have the real fun beginning. Vader defeating Kota Ibushi. Yes, Vader defeating Kota Ibushi in 82. Okay. We've got the next generation, which is Fujita and Kanemura. So a shoot style guy and a wing hardcore guy defeating Tatsuki Sekimoto and Tatsumi Fujinami. And then we got Naruki Doi defeating El Hijo del Santo to retain the Junior Heavyweight title, which isn't that weird a match, except for it's very I know these are two high flying guys. I don't know if they're mixed together. Then we got Brock Lesnar versus Nakamura in Random 95. We got Chono versus Ogawa in just a random 8, Lesnar at 100. And our main event, we got Yuji Nagata beating Bill Goldberg to retain the IGB Heavyweight title. This is some wacky ass stuff. Also, I didn't notice they have coverage in TEW in America, and this was seen by 350,000 people in America. Okay, sure. Why not? But yeah. Again, I don't usually like interrupt the flow of these videos to bring in random stuff, but this was just a very interesting show. Anyway, be back with the actual taping in just a moment. Now it's time for the go-home series of tapings for Devil's Night, and we continue on the road to that big show. We start off with the Extreme Horsemen backstage. Of course, that includes the new member, Takeshi Morishima, as he puts over, in just a moment, the Extreme Horsemen regained our power. In just a moment. Everybody in Major League Wrestling was reminded of what I can do. In just a moment, everything changed once again. Yes, when I got news that I was going to be out for 9 months with an injury, I was upset. But I always knew we had an ace in our deck, as even as a machine. You see, this wasn't some flat dash plan done at the last minute. It was going to happen no matter what. The fact that I got injured, well, that's just something you gotta account for. But you see, the moment MLW officials told me, I found out Morishima was becoming MLW, I contacted him and convinced him to be part of Extreme Horsemen. You think just because we're some different companies we never met? Japan's is a small place, especially the professional wrestling business. Everybody knows everybody. Just a few phone calls, and I was with Dr. Morishima, and I convinced him that the future of wrestling is with being with the Extreme Horsemen. And now at Devil's Night, low-key, your luck runs out. Good promo, 60, Morishima's be moreover, and there we go, good stuff. As you have a match warning about the Detroit crowd with Simple Wrestling, Heart Foundation 2K3 of Jack Evans and Teddy Hart defeated Lightbringer and Joker in 6:44. When Jack Evans pins Joker with a heart attack, this gets a 43. Teddy Hart gets a 31. Jack Evans gets a 48. Joker gets a 27. Lightbringer gets a 44. Good stuff. Solid win for Heart Foundation. And then post-match, Heart Foundation celebrate with Natty, which gets a 30. Just solid win for the Heart Foundation as we continue to build these guys up slowly but surely. We probably a little too slowly, but what can you do? Then we go backstage where basically Nikki Rocks, Rick Gordy, Vedder, and Reeves are all preparing for their concert. And preparing mean they're in a bar where we see another band in the background and they're making fun of them, throwing beer bottles at them. And when somebody comes up, Reeves just stands in front of them. And, and then remind people at Devil's Night, MLW fans are going to hear real music, whether they like it or not. 44, good stuff. Not the end of the world, good stuff as we build these guys up as a heel underneath team. And then we have a backstage brawl where we have Jason Cross, Ekmo, Mano, Sabu, Junior Fatu, and Semu all fighting backstage. The MLW officials break it up and send both teams that are actual teams to the ring for their match tonight. This gets a 46 as we build things up. And then as we move forward, in a decent match, Junior Fatu and Sabu defeated Samoan Island Tribe in 8:20 when Fatu pinned Semu with a Rikishi driver. This gets a 49. Solid stuff. Semu gets a 51. Junior Fatu gets a 51. Semu gets a 39. And Mana gets a 36. Big win for Fatu and Sabu as they get a win over, of course, Mana and Semu. And then post-match, looks like Ekmo is going to run in, but out of nowhere, Crofts dies on him from basically the little stage that's rigged for the entrances and just dies on Ekmo. And before anything else can happen, Alobashi was breaking him apart as the announcers put over the big match that's happening, at Devil's Night between these two. As Cross has a very high, very high barrier to actually winning, but he may be able to pull off an upset against the, dominant Ekmo, who has been very, powerful so far in Major League Wrestling, even against his own family. But can Cross pull off the upset? We'll just have to see. Then we have a backstage promo with Loki, where basically, sort of the fact, I wanted a, honorable match against Morishima, but that does not happen. So as a warrior, I am now ready to battle, no matter what happens, no matter who gets involved. And Siegfried, you may be injured, but if you try to interfere in my match, I will not hesitate to destroy your shoulder. This gets 57th, short promo, so puts over that match. And as we move forward, we also get the announcement that at Devil's Night, it'll be Sanjay Dutt versus Homicide. After, of course, Homicide attacked him a couple weeks back. And then, in our main event, in a superb match, Matt Sydal and Homicide beat Sanjay Dutt and the Amazing Red in 1955, when Matt Sydal pinned the Amazing Red with a Dragon Rana after distraction from Val. So basically, back and forth match, Homicide and Sanjay Dutt brawl. Dutt and Sydal have some high spots. Amazing Red and Homicide have a little fight, of course, because they've had a long time feud. But at the end, Dutt dives on Homicide on the outside, but Val doesn't come in the ring, but she sort of does it like she tries to distract Red, but goes over to the referee. But that gives Homicide enough time. That gives Sydal enough time to low blow Amazing Red, hit him with the Dragon Rana, and pick up the win. This gets a 63. The Amazing Red gets a 61. Sonny Dutt gets a 61. Homicide gets a 51. And Matt Sydal gets a 61. Good stuff. And, Sydal is celebrating, but out of nowhere comes in Nigel and just drills him with a lariat from behind to knock him down as the show ends. As this gets a 52. And as we finish things off with a 54. So that's sort of unless we really throw in a big main event match show, that seems to be a thing, which is good because it's increasing our popularity stuff. But I'll be back with the actual go home show, and then it'll be time for Devil's Night, so I'll be back with that in just a moment. Alright, it's now time for the go home show for Devil's Night, as we basically start out with Hero and Strong opening the show, basically, wanting answers on what the hell is going on. They don't care if Morishima is facing Loki, they don't care that Denkarin was injured. They signed for a tag team match at Devil's Night, and they want to know who their damn opponents are, so first time Diamond comes out, and then, slipping into the ring from behind, is Just Incredible, who attacks both of them, saying War Games as a bell rings for the opening match, which is Roderick Strong versus Just Incredible. Crowd pops for Credible because he's an ECW guy. Then they boom because he's with, Diamond. Does he get to 42 because, of course, some of these guys are the most over guys, and Credible, yeah. Very good gimmick for his extremist gimmick. Then we have an actual match, which is basically a brawl between Credible and Strong, as Strong does his best to fight back. But at the end, Just Incredible defeats Roderick Strong in 10-14 by pinfall. I'm going to assume with That's Incredible after whacking Strong with a single arcane, as this gets a 54. Credible gets a 39. Rush Strong gets a 58. Solid stuff, as we, of course, Krinos is on the mic, basically putting over, Credible's background, and that he was a former member of the Extreme Horsemen, and that was back in the fold, and just proves that the Extreme Horsemen continue to be the most dominant force in Major League Wrestling. And for once, maybe he's right. And then post-match, the heels all celebrate to a 57. Then we come back to commercial. Featured Attraction come out with their tag team titles. They basically, assume they have the night off because, MLW officials have not told them, they have a match. And out comes Kevin Kelly actually comes down to the ring. Says actually MLW officials have opponents for them. First he brings out the Maximos and Featured Attraction to shrug. And then comes out Teddy Hart and Jack Evans. They still shrug. And then comes out Harry Smith and TJ Wilson. So Featured Attraction, okay, those are tag teams. Who is the team that's going to get their ass kicked at Devil's Night? And Kevin Kelly says MLW officials have determined that all three of these teams deserve a shot. That's going to happen in a four quarters match at Devil's Night. And of course, because they're heels, they freak out that they don't have to be pinned to lose the titles, and that sets up that match. Yeah, not my most best booking ever, but I honestly kind of have too many over heel teams. I mean, too many heel teams and not enough over face teams, unfortunately. Wait, I'm blanking. What did I just say? Yeah, Maximus. And also, we'll also pre-book the other match that, of course, was set up by what just happened tonight, as it can be official. It'll be Simon Diamond and Just Incredible taking on Chris Hero and Roderick Strong. And then we actually move forward as we go backstage, or not backstage, but we go to another video where Dynamite Daisies are practicing again, but this time they're in a different bar. This is more of a cowboy bar, as they're hanging out. Everybody's saying, they've heard Dynamite Daisies and the great band they are. Then we have one sort of more prototypical redneck. So he's, saying, do you play Willie Nelson or Vert Straight? And Federer cuts promo saying, no, they're the past, we're the future of country music. We play real country that real people want to hear, and there's nothing you can do about it, old man. Of course, the old man gets a little surly, and Reed sort of steps in front of him as he, old man has to back up. And, Rick Gordy steps in space. He says, we're the future of professional wrestling and the future of the music industry, and if you don't like it, sorry about your damn luck. 49, again, actually pretty decent thing as we move forward. Again, Dynamite Daisies have a concert. Then a decent match. Averno defeats Dragon Kid in 7:45 by pinfall the Dragon Wings. Devil's Wings rather. This gets a 57. Again, back and forth, high flying match, but Averno gets the win. Averno gets a 63. Dragon gets a 38. And then post match, basically, we have a stare down between Averno and Delirious. Which, have I actually booked that? Yes, okay. That's what I thought. And yeah, I'll put over. This will be a tremendous junior heavyweight title match. As even Steve Corino says, usually the high flying folks, are something, that I can figure out how to beat in a second. Both these guys are actually really pretty good wrestlers. This gets a 49. Good stuff. As Delirious is slowly getting over. Daisy Hayes is also getting over. Roberto's actually pretty over already. And then we have a quick homicide promo where basically so for, why did he attack Sanjay Dutt? Because I deserve respect in this company and I'm still not getting it. So if I have to attack people to get it, so damn be it. 41, not the best promo, but he rolled bad, and yeah, what can you do? And then in our main event of the night, as in about like great heat and good wrestling, Takeshi Morishima and Simon Diamond of the Extreme Horsemen defeat Loki and Chris Hero in 1752, when Morishima pins Loki with Delirious. This gets a 63, and back and forth, really, high impact, strong style match. Again, Morishima has Loki in the ring, and he destroys him with a backdraft driver, hits the lariat, and gets the 1, 2, 3 over the World Heavyweight Champion as Kevin Kelly. First of effect if this happens at Devil's Night, we'll have a new World Champion. He'll be one of the Extreme Horsemen, and basically says when that happens, not if that happens. Show ends on that note, as again, this gets a 63, like I said. Chris Hero gets a 50, Loki gets a 62, Simon Diamond gets a 57, and Morishima gets a 57. And overall, this gets a 54. I think we want to be capped at that at the moment, or something weird. No, because we've had better TV shows, obviously. Yeah, just as a quick note, I'm going to go over the full show in just a second here. And then we'll actually go to Devil's Night, which you'll see in just a moment. And Manaya Toyota gave birth to a baby boy. Good for her. So, okay, Check Player thinks you booked more strongly. I'm sorry, Chad, but you're not that good. And yeah, just check out, okay, so pre-booking. So yeah, for Devil's Night, we've got, for the world title, Loki versus Takeshi Morishima. For the junior heavyweight title, we got Averno going for the title against Delirious. We've got the wacky 4-way tag match for the tag team titles as the feature attraction that's defended against both teams in the Hart Foundation and the SAT. We've got a big number one contenders match as Matt Sydal faces Nigel McGuinness and the Amazing Red. We've got a huge tag team match that's been created over the past couple weeks as Hero and Strong take on the Extreme Horsemen members of Diamond and Incredible. We got Sanjay Dutt versus Homicide in a battle for respect. And we got Jason Cross versus ECMO in a match where can Jason Cross survive ECMO. And then, of course, there'll be probably another bonus match of the Cruiserweights and, of course, Dynamite Daisies concert. But you'll all see all that in just a moment here. So we'll be back with Devil's Night in just a second. And now, let's go everybody to MLW Devil's Night 2005, live from the Miami Beach Civic Center for over 4,000 people, as it's one of our biggest shows of the year. Probably a bigger show there since, I don't know. I have figured out what's our actual like WrestleMania. Anyway, basically, Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino taped up like hell because of injury. Opened the show, basically put over the big matches. Corino puts over the machine was going to bring the MLW World Heavyweight Title, the Extreme Horsemen. They put over, both Averno and Hums and Delirious are great wrestlers. And, they put over, anybody could win the three-way. Matt Sydal has a woman. Nigel McGuinness has that big lariat. Amazing Red is a never say die. And, he, I may hate the little punk, but, he's Sydal to beat down. This gets a 57, perfectly solid thing to open up the show, and then we go to our opening match, which is, of course, a wacky 6-man cruiserweight, as in a 4-match. Akira Tozawa defeated Dragon Kid, M-Dog 20, Bobby Quance, Michael Monist, and Incognito in 10:30 when Tozawa pinned Dragon Kid. This gets a 44, and a total flippy match. Quance gets a 39, Dragon Kid gets a 39, M-Dog 20 gets a 29, Tozawa gets a 38, Michael Monist gets a 49, Incognito gets a 30. Really good match, especially for everybody overness. And again, Michael Monist is one of those people who, if he wasn't a regular nowhere guy, I would really put over a little more. But yeah, good match, and Tozawa celebrates as he gets a 37. We have our next match, which is in a bit of a storytelling match. So basically what happens here is, Jason Cross, hits a whole bunch of high-flying moves, and looks like he's going to actually get the surprise win over ECMO, but eventually ECMO just, catches him once, hits a big power slam, and just complete domination from there. And unfortunately, ECMO drills Jason Cross with Simone Slash and gets the pinfall victory. 661 as Cross has really good in work. He's 56. ECMO gets a 58. And just like, unfortunately, Cross isn't charismatic at all, at least in the game, so I can't really push him that hard. So, he gets to fight a little, gets some babyface fire because he's actually charismatic in the ring, I guess, but then ECMO kills him. And then ECMO looks like he's going to do a beatdown, but Junior Fat 2 comes down, and the brawl is on, and referee Jason Ayers, basically brings the bell for a surprise match, which gets a 60. Then we have the actual match, which is an extremely short match. Junior Fat 2 actually beats ECMO in 5:24 by pinfall with the rump shaker. This gets a 48. ECMO gets 62. Fat 2 gets a 52. Really short match. And it gives Fat 2 some measure of revenge against ECMO. Then Fat 2 celebrates, gets a 63. Then we move on to our next match, which is in a bout that had great heat and good wrestling. Homicide defeats Sanjay Dutt in 11:48 by pinfall after using a foreign object. So he, drills him with some sort of like chair, maybe a chain or something wacky that Homicide would use. Nothing crazy like barbed wire, but just Homicide gets the win. He's able to get the pinfall over Sanjay Dutt, who has been successful here in Major League Wrestling. So this gets a 52. Dutt gets a 54. Homicide gets a 52. And yeah, pushing this right after the ECMO, not the end of the world. So it gets a 52, which isn't that much worse than it probably would have been even without the ding for having two crazy matches in succession. Then Homicide celebrates afterwards to a 53, so good stuff. Then you move forward, as in our big tag team title match, Feet Attraction get the win, defeating Heart Foundation 2K3, Stampede Bulldogs, and the SAT in 13:02, when Shane pins Jose Maximo with the picture perfect elbow drop. So my bunch of is like just an 8-way like wild thing to end things, dive trains, flippy moves, big spots. But at the end, Joel Clark hits the 630, then Michael Shane is able to his picture perfect elbow drop and gets pinfall victory over Jose Maximo. This gets a 51. Joel Clark gets a 55. Shane gets a 60. Jay Hart gets a 31. Jack Evans gets a 49. TJ Wilson gets a 40. Barry Smith gets a 35. Joel gets a 46. And Jose gets a 45. And of course, Featured Track celebrating afterwards gets a 51. Then, in a bout that great heat and good wrestling, Delirious defeats Averno in 14:45 by pinfall panic attack to retain the World Junior Heavyweight Title. This gets a 63, so one of our better matches. As Josie gets a 51, Averno gets a 60, and just back and forth for a classic Junior Heavyweight Title match. But Delirious is just a little bit better tonight and is able to finish her and get the huge pinfall victory over a big Mexican star and a former World Junior Heavyweight Champion. And of course, post-match, Delirious and Daisy celebrate to a 44. And then we have our sort of big angle. Yes, those are the people they look like. As basically what happens is Dynamite Daisies do their quote-unquote concert. It involves Nikki Rocks, dressed up like a cowgirl, doing a little dance. Then Vedder and Ray Gordy play their song. Basically, it is a country song, but basically is like making fun of Major League Wrestling, the fans here, rap, metal, basically all things that MLW songs would like. And, then they move on, then they continue to play as the crowd boos. And then all of a sudden, their sound cuts out. And after a second, the Rick Malenko from the Insane Clown Posse plays, and to a big pop, because again, it's 2005, they're still over. The Insane Clown Posse come out and just start brawling with Vedder and Gordy. Reeves comes in, and, Jay and Shaggy fight them off. And eventually, MLW officials run in and break things apart. But it looks like the Insane Clown Posse are here in MLW, and they're here to fight Dynamite Daisies. Interesting. This gets a 43, because, again, good stuff. Shaggy Shopes down to Clown Gimmick gets a very good. Jay's Great Malenko Gimmick gets a great. And Matt Sydal will be used by a heel, loses Heart and and then Jay receives Bone. Okay. And yeah, this is something I came up basically looking over the available wrestlers because I wanted somebody to bring in to feud with Dynamite Daisies because they sort of gone over all the lower card teams. But a heel is currently the tag champs, so here we are. 43, good stuff. And I probably should have started the feud, but whatever. Then in our next tag team match, in a match that gets a 59, Hero and Strong defeat Simon Diamond and Just Incredible in 13:07 when Chris Hero pins Just Incredible with the Hero's Welcome. Pretty straightforward, solid tag match. Heels get the heat. Eventually, babyfaces come back with a big comeback, and Hero's able to his finisher on Credible to get pinfall victory. Credible gets a 45, Diamond gets a 58, Strong gets a 52, Hero gets a 50. So someone's better than its parts here. And post-match, Hero and Strong celebrate to a 51. And then after that, in our semi-main event, in our, I think, what's now tied for our best match ever, in a match that's superb wrestling and the great heat, the Amazing Red gets the huge victory over Matt Sydal and Nigel McGuinness in 15-10 when Amazing Red pins Sydal with the code Red. So just, back and forth match, lots of three-way spots. Sydal and Nigel, brawl and fight. Nigel hits a lariat, but foul puts Sydal's foot on the rope. Sydal hits the big flip dive onto Amazing Red. Amazing Red does his own flippy stuff. They do have a cruiserweight style match. Nigel comes in with lariats. Nigel finishes on the outside. Sydal's going up top, shooting out of press, but Amazing Red gets out of the way. He hits the Spanish fly from the top, but Nigel breaks it up. Eventually, Nigel and Sydal are brawling. Foul gets involved. Nigel pushes Sydal down. He, not violently, but gets her out of the way. That Sydal gets upset. That allows Amazing Red to hit a dive on both of them, and then bring Sydal in, hit the code Red, and get the 1, 2, 3. And then post-match, Amazing Red celebrates to a 56. And then it's main event time. And, this is a back and forth, but, brutal match. Morishima really has a size advantage, and it's really obvious. He just throws around Loki. And Loki fights back with kicks, strikes, and everything. But eventually, it's just too much as Morishima hits a couple of suplexes, and then hits the backdrop driver. And then as Loki is slowly getting up, bam, lariat. Loki does the flip bump. Morishima gets the 1, 2, 3 clean pinfall, doing the MLW World Heavyweight Title. This gets a 64. Loki gets a 67. Morishima gets a 56. And then post-match, the whole Extreme Horsemen come out, including Carino, and they celebrate their big world title win, as this gets a 56. And the show overall gets a 59. So not the best matches, only because the main event wasn't that. It was a little bit worse than usual, but still a really good match. So, of course, let's give it props to Nigel, since he was one who wasn't even involved in the finish there. Actually, got this. Yeah, actually, let's give a little prop to Jason Cross for good performance. And honestly, low-key, give it a hug. Pray for good performance. Let's just go over, see what actually was our best matches real quick, see how this ranks in our shows, and then that'll be it for tonight. I'll go over ordinance changes at the start of the next video, because this is already a longer one. But let's just see what happens here. Okay, let's see here. Oh, gain a user talent point. Hooray! We got 27,000 people. So, Kevin Steen's ISW World Champion. Anyway, okay, that's fine. So first, use your talents. So basically, honestly, because we need to save some money eventually, let's say negotiating. There you go. And yeah, so top 100s. So events. So yeah, this was actually our worst major show since 2004, unfortunately. Yeah, let me just get 2005. Yeah, not okay. Reloaded was actually a little worse, but that was also the start of the year. So yeah, I mean, I'm not that surprised, only because Morishima is not that over yet. I mean, he's over, but not super over, like Danielson and even Nigel was. So yeah, there you go. But still, a solid show. I mean, nothing to be that upset about. And then match-wise, let's see here. Okay, so this was actually better than the street fight match. Yeah, just a point better. Okay. And is anything else in the top 10 here? Let's see here. Devil's Night, Devil's Night, Devil's Night, Devil's Night. Okay, Devil's Night. Okay, Machine Low-Keys. Okay, 21. So it's not a bad match. It just isn't quite one of our best matches ever. And if we go to 2005, it is our... Okay, yeah, it's still only 19. Yeah, because basically all our good matches have been this year. So, not the greatest thing ever, but, still solid, pretty solid. And, I'm proud of the booking here, especially considering everything. Because, again, this was originally going to be Loki versus Jansen. Then it was going to be Loki versus Bully Ray. And then now it's Morishima. So, I actually like this booking. Because, again, just to go over things, it was going to be Loki Danielson. Danielson was going to go over. If it would end up being Loki Bully Ray, Loki would have went over. And then I made a decision, basically, as I was deciding to do the heel turn, to put Morishima over. Because, honestly, because, sort of the next title match, which you sure would be able to figure out, is much more interesting than it would have been with Loki. But that's it for now. If you've enjoyed this, go ahead and give it a like. Comment below if you're enjoying and not enjoying, and of course, subscribe to the channel for lots of TEW 2020 content, including this series, my WCW 2001 series, now heading towards our first pay-per-view of 2004, my new WCW 2013 series with lots of random number generated goals, and my WCW 1993 series with no Eric Bischoff. That's it for now, so talk to you later, and have a good one. Adios.